Hi fellow flowers, Violet here and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to weave the SuperBrick stitch or the 3x1 lanyard. I'll be starting with a hook, but if you don't have one, it's okay, you can leave it out. But you will need 3 pieces of gimp or Rex lace or plastic lacing, and these are going to be cut to the same length. Now for specific lengths, please check out the description box. But you will also need a main string, and this one is going to be white for this lanyard, and this one is going to be a little bit longer than the other 3 strings. Next, I'm going to grab all strings in my hand, so at the end, and then I will find the end of the shorter strings, and then I'll pull all of the ends in one hand, then just kind of run my fingers along the strings until I find the midpoint of all of the strings. Now, of course, because I have one long string here, it's hanging over my thumb, that one I need to even out by itself. So I'll just give it a tug so I can figure out which white string it is. And then once it's gotten a little shorter, I know which string I need to even out. So I'll grab both ends of that. And then I will pull it until it is also even on both sides in my hands. Next, if you were going to make this into a keychain, now would be a good time to attach the hook. So I will just make a little loop at that midpoint, insert half of the strings through, and then pull those through the hook at that midpoint. So they should all be even on all 4 sides. And if they're not, you can take the time now to even it out and fix that. Next, I want to arrange the strings like so. So I have the black, white, and brown going kind of horizontally, and then my white string is going to be perpendicular to that, going up and down. Now I will place my thumb down over the hook and over those strings, and I'll start with the white string that is kind of sticking up on top, and I'm going to fold it down over the rest of the strings and use my ring finger to hold it just to the left of the bottom white string. Then I'll bring that bottom white string up to the right, and I should have something that looks like this. Next, I'm going to be weaving the side strings. I'll start with the black string on the right, and it's going to go over this white string and underneath this one. And then I will pull it through. Next, I will continue to the black string that is on the left, and this one will now go over this white string here. Oh, let me get this out of the way. Okay, so it's going over this one, but then under this one. And then I'll pull that through as well. Next, I can move on to the white row of strings. So pulling from the right this time, we will go over this one and under this one. And pull that directly through. Then I will reach in between my fingers to find the other end or the other side of the white string. And then this one will also be going over that white string here and then under this. And pull through. Then finally we can finish with the brown row. I will feed it over this and under here. And then pull that one through. And then I can finish with the brown string on the opposite side. So I'll reach in between my fingers and just pull the string until I find the end of it. And I'll go over this one and under right here and pull that through. Next, I'm going to hold these strings that are on the right with my right hand, the strings on the left with my left hand, and I will work on pulling this tight by alternating pulling the horizontal strings and then pulling the vertical strings. And then once it's all tight, it should look like this. And now I can weave the straight stitch, which is pretty simple. It's the same way that we started it. I'm going to bring this top white string down and then this bottom white string up, and then just weave these side strings over and under like I did when I started it. Now really quickly, I wanted to point out to you that this white string right here is kind of loose on top, right? And then on the right side, I have a loop. So when I'm weaving, I need to start with the black string that is going to lock down that string. So if I were to start with this black string that was on the right, I would be going over a loop and underneath a loose string. So instead I'm going to pull this black string from the left, and I will go over that loose string and underneath the loop. And that is what is going to lock down the lanyard and get it started the right way. So in case your lanyard is falling apart, maybe you can check to see which side of the strings you are starting with first when you begin weaving those side strings. But for now, I will just weave each row all the way down accordingly, alternating sides and following the same pattern of over, under. And then on your last one, you should be going over a loose string and underneath that loop again. Now I can pull this all tightly, and I will continue that same weaving pattern of starting with the main strings and then weaving each row of side strings accordingly. So you'll see again, now this time the loose side has switched sides. So that means that I need to start on the side of that loose side. So I'm going to start on the right side and go underneath that loop. And then I will weave the left and so on. Now, after a while, you should have something that looks like this. And after a couple of more minutes of weaving, you should have something that looks like this. Now, I've gotten it to a point where I have just a couple inches of working strings left, and I want to finish this. So to do that, I will leave my last stitch a little bit loose. So I'm going to weave it just like normal, but instead of pulling it all the way tight, I'm going to leave just a little bit of slack in the strings, so that way I can tuck these strings underneath. I will start with the white main string here, and I'm going to tuck it underneath the loop that is next to it, and then I'll pull this through. And then I will move to the brown right next to it, and you'll notice that to the left of it, it has this little loop right here, and I'm going to insert the string underneath that and pull that up. Then for the next white, this one's going to go under right here, and I'll pull this through. Then for the black, and then we're back to the main string white, and I'm just going to do this all the way around. And once all those strings are tucked underneath, I'll hold the lanyard in one hand and hold those free strings in my other hand, and I will pull the knots towards the top of the lanyard. And this will tighten up those strings and keep them in place for you as you use it as a cute little keychain. And you can trim off those free ends, but there you have it. This is how you make the 3-strand SuperBrick lanyard. Thank you so much for watching and for keeping the nostalgic love of lanyard making alive. Keep blooming, and I will see you in the next one.